Warning: this game contains content might not be suitable for most audiences. Viewers' discretion is advised. Almost like clockwork, my body reacts to the all-too-familiar sounds of birds chirping outside my window, and it pulls me from the depths of dreamland. Groggily, I roll over to my side and reach for my phone on the nightstand. I briefly get flashbang from the brightness of my screen before squinting my eyes to make out the time. Glancing at the clock, I noticed that I somehow managed to wake up an hour earlier than usual, and that I received a few messages from Moth at some point at last night. Opening them up, I casually begin to skim through them. Tell me you've seen the newest Attack on Giant theories! Big, fat, massive spoiler! Hey, I have not seen it yet! Haruko God damn it, Moth! His butt really survived the massive blast from that sorcerer! Look at these pics! You can clearly see the part of his outfit in one of them. He's clearly still alive! By the way, let me know when you're awake so I can tell you about something super important. Anyways, back to my Haruko theory that I came up with, and definitely did not steal from some forum online. In this 329-page essay, There still seem to be quite a few more lengthy messages from Moth underneath, but I figured I got the overall gist of things already. In fact, after looking at all these messages, I was beginning to think that Moth didn't really have anyone to talk to about Attack on Giants, which didn't really surprise me. They weren't exactly the best at opening up and getting to know others, let alone with strangers online, so it was a wonder how we managed to become friends in the first place. Back then, we were both new fans who wanted to fawn over Attack on Giants on some online forum, yet we somehow crossed paths and clicked immediately. And even now, the franchise is still insanely popular within the anime community, garnering many fans who love to discuss episode theories with others online. Yet, Moth always seemed to come to me before anyone else, and for that, I was grateful. I honestly didn't mind in the slightest, and I also got to gush to them about my hyperfixations in return, like my hyperfixation on Red! Which, unfortunately, I don't have that much of. I mean, god damn it, have you guys seen the list of games I've been playing lately? I don't know! I've been doing this for over a year now! But man, I just wish our time zones would be more lenient. I always manage to catch Moth as soon as I'm going to bed, and they always seem to message me while I'm halfway through my sleep cycle. Well, there was no use in thinking too much about it. Putting those thoughts aside for now, I decided to spend the rest of my morning going through the rest of Moth's messages instead, and even setting back a few theories of my own before getting ready for work. But before I begrudgingly leave the warmth and comfortness of my bed in favor of making breakfast, I make sure to give my new Haruko plushie a squeeze and a pat on that. Wait, we're not in our bed, we're in Red's bed. Look, MC, did you just forget? Didn't we stay over at Ren's place? This is what I decided on. With a full stomach and a slight bounce in my step, I casually make my way towards the Corlin Bay Library. Even from here, I can make out Elanor's fancy welcome message written on the chalkboard sign, and from the looks of the parking situation outside, it didn't seem that busy. Yet. What captures my interest, however, is a black sports motorbike propped up in one of the parking spots. I could make out a ton of small anime decals on the tag, but what really catches my attention were the Always With You stickers. Whoever owned that bike must be a fan of the webcomic, and I honestly wanted to be their friend because of it. Because as unfortunate as it is, the only person I had to talk about this was Moth. But it made a lot of sense considering how Always With You was only published recently and the fandom was still so small. Not many people were aware of its existence, and that would slowly start to change. Physical copies of the webcomic were starting to appear in stores, and despite my attempts, I had yet to get my hands on one. Oh well, maybe one day. Now wasn't the time to be dwelling on these things. I would have been late for work if I stayed in my head any longer. Not wasting any more time, I quickly speed up the stairs and enter the library. But I barely make it 3 feet inside before a mess of blonde hair enters my field of view and almost knocks me over. Is it Elanor? Elanor? Elanor! Ah! It's Elanor! Lion, there you are! Quick, I need your help! Eleanor's anxious demeanor catches me off guard, and I immediately do a sweep of the library for anything out of place. But I'm hardly given any time to take in my surroundings before Elanor reaches for my arm, and all but drags me behind the reception counter and towards a mountain of paperwork. Stacks upon stacks of books, files, newspapers, and manila folders covered the entire expanse of their desk, and for the briefest moment, it almost resembled a messy archive repository rather than her workstation. What's all this? This was supposed to be sorted out yesterday. I swear I did it already. In fact, I know I did. Remember leaving it all in Conan's office before I left work yesterday, so you can imagine my surprise when I saw it back on my desk this morning. Elanor seems genuinely concerned, especially with how she is flitting about and pacing back and forth in front of me. It was almost like she'd seen a ghost, and if I didn't know any better, I honestly would have believed it. Please, help me. If Conan finds out how I somehow messed up again, I don't know what will happen. Hey, don't worry, El. I'll help. And I doubt Conan will get mad. You know how he is. I suppose you're right. Her shoulders seem to visibly relax at my words, and she slumps onto her chair with a heavy sigh. Thank you so much, Lion. Do you think you can manage the stack of books? I'll handle all the files. Without missing a beat, lest our boss magically appears somewhere behind us, we immediately get to work. How did it all get all messy anyway? Time flies by quickly when I have my chatty coworker to keep me company. She fills me in on how the freak storm caught everyone off guard, and how some of the patrons shared the same idea of seeking refuge within the library as well. Apparently, Elanor was the only one around to keep an eye on things, and from the sound of it, she seemed to take on the leadership role like a pro. Still, discussing her whereabouts had me thinking. That reminds me, where did you go the other day? The other day? What do you mean? Remember Ren, the pink-haired guy? Huh? Oh, Loverboy! Yeah, him. After we had the conversation with Ren, I never saw you afterwards. Oh? Huh. Let me think. I watch as she inclines her head to the side, and all too quickly, she snaps her fingers and gives me an affirmative nod. Oh, that's right. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, but I ended up going home early. I must have accidentally bumped into something while cleaning the stockroom the other day. Before I knew it, one of the shelves came tumbling down on me. What in the world? It wasn't until a little later when Conan found me and pulled me out. You knocked over an entire shelf? Miss Creston! Knowing I was only teasing, Elanor sends me a sheepish smile and bows her head to hide her reddening cheeks. But now that I think about it, the shelves in the stockroom had always seemed relatively stable to me. My coworker wasn't known for her strength, so it didn't make much sense for it to topple over that easily. But thankfully, Elanor elaborates more, almost as if she could hear the gears in my head working overtime. Well, I suppose it was a tad bit odd. I mean, I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now, and not once have I heard so much as a creak from those shelves. It does seem strange, yeah. Huh. Well, I've no doubt Conan will be installing new storage shelves soon. Oh, speaking of, did you notice the new awnings outside the library? I suppose that sunstorm from yesterday had something to do with it. In fact, oh, maybe you heard it on the news already? I heard that all the rain... Our conversation gets cut short as I watch Eleanor's attention drift behind me and towards the flashing red light above one of the shelves. Duty calls, I guess. As soon as she stands, I shoot her an appreciative smile, which she returns with an apologetic one of her own, and meanders away towards the aisle. Now left to my own devices, I go back to sorting through the books and putting them into separate piles. I managed to get a solid 10 minutes to myself before a sudden sense of unease creeps up on me. It felt as though someone was watching me, so I take a curious sweep across the vicinity to try and locate the source. But nothing seemed out of the ordinary. People were studying, others would quietly type away at their computers, and I could even spot the back of Eleanor's head from her spot near the fantasy fiction aisle. Nothing was out of place, yet that unnerving feeling of having eyes on the back of my head still lingers. In fact, now that I thought about it, it was eerily similar to the feeling I got when I was walking home a few days ago. Violet's words about someone breaking into my apartment echo in my mind before it all suddenly dawns upon me. The supposed person watching me. Could it somehow be linked? No, definitely not. Shaking my head, I try to dismiss those unsettling thoughts before they start to develop into something more sinister. There was no one watching me. After all, There was hardly anything impressive about me to warrant a stalker in the first place. I was plain as they come, and if some butthole really did break into my house, they left empty-handed. That alone clearly proved that I don't own anything worth stealing, except maybe my limited edition Attack on Giant figurines, but even then. I remember thoroughly inspecting my entire apartment once I got home. Nothing was out of place, nor looked like it had been touched. Everything was left as I left it that morning. Yet, it still didn't explain why I was feeling this way. Fear and apprehension seemed to overwhelm my senses so much that my mind barely registers the sound of something rustling, and I looked down to see that I've been worrying the papers in my hands for the past few minutes. Had I been stressing out that badly? Jeez, I really was letting all this paranoia get the best of me. Shaking my head once more, I decided it's best not to let those thoughts fester and grow into something far bigger than it should be. No one broke into my apartment, and no one was watching me right now. I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and nothing was going to scare me. Hello? Yeah! Whoa! Instead of some creepy stalker dressed in all black, I was met with blonde hair and expensive-looking clothing. Was this the person I felt watching me? It was difficult to make out her words over the loud, rapid sounds of my heartbeat, so I tried my best to calm down before responding. Sorry, I didn't notice you come in. Welcome to Corlin Bay Library. Can I help you with anything? I hope I sounded professional enough, though I'm sure there was still a lingering sense of fear in my words, and a facial expression to match. But it started to dissipate as I take in the woman's appearance. Her green eyes seem oddly familiar to me, but what gives it all away is how the woman slightly inclines her head to the side as she looks over me with concern. Surely not. Was that? I don't suppose... Are you Kiara? Eleanor's told me all about you. In the flesh, I'm actually here to visit my darling sister, would you believe? But now you've piqued my interest. She shoots me a harmless wink and rests her hand atop the reception counter. Wow, even the clang in her jewelry sounds expensive, and I can't help but look at her in awe. In awe? I mean, yeah, she's pretty, but she's not Ren. Tell me, what else has Nori said about me? How will you respond? Let's see. She really admires you. She loves your taste in fashion. She wants a jacket back. She finds you annoying. You know what? I forgot. It has been months since I played this game, and even longer since I played day 1 of this. I don't know what she said about you, but you know what? I'll be nice. I have a feeling that this might screw me over, but I'll be nice. She admires you. Oh, really? When did she say that? It would have been nice to hear it coming from her. Ah, well. I'm sure you're well aware of how shy little Nori can be sometimes. Lion! As if summoning Elanor herself, she emerges from somewhere behind me and joins us at the front desk. Kiara, what are you doing here? There she is. What? Am I not allowed to say hello to my little sis? I'm at work right now. You could have texted me in advance. I wanted to surprise you, and look, I came bearing gifts. At that, Kiara places down a few bags branded with high-end prints and designer logos. Sorry, darling. If I knew I'd be meeting you here, I would have brought extra. But I'm sure there's something for you in one of the bags as well. Pick whatever Elanor doesn't want. I genuinely wish I could be rich enough to say something like that. The sisters seem fully engrossed in each other's presence, so I leave them alone so that they can have their moment to catch up. After all, I didn't know how long it'd been since Elanor and Kiara had seen each other, and the mountain of work in front of me wasn't going to sort itself out in the meantime. But before I can silently slip away and sit back down, a tattooed arm boxes me in and commands my attention. And for a second time today, the expensive smell of wealth and luxury floods my senses. Only this time, I know the person it belongs to. Is it? Oh, screw off, Tio! Damn, who are they? Oh, you're going after her? Sure, go ahead. Look, honestly, you and Kiara can go screw off somewhere else. I don't care. Just get out of my goddamn life, Tio. Seemingly out of nowhere, Tio appears with that familiar smirk on his face and an unbothered drawl in his tone. He's absolutely shameless with how his eyes take in both of the sisters' appearances, before he is leaning more of his weight onto his arm and shooting me an expectant look. Don't even think about it. Why would I say that? Why would I say that? I want him gone! Trust me, you don't even want to know what I'm thinking about, right? You're awful. Given how he leans even closer to my side with a sultry grin, I end up believing his words. After all, I wouldn't put it past Tio to think up multiple ways to cause a scene in his free time. Not jealous, are you? Why would you even... Whether or not it was my sudden outburst that captures their attention, Elanor and Kiara finally seem to notice this, and I thank my lucky stars for a chance to escape this conversation. Perhaps I could sneak off to the employees' lounge while everyone was busy talking. I'm sure you work here too. Yeah, I've got a few things here that you could check out. Oh, why? Despite my disgust at Tio's blatant flirting, Elanor seems to be eating it up with a slight blush on her cheeks. Oh, actually, I was just visiting. I don't work here, but little Nori here does. I'm sure she could help you out. Despite her friendly tone, Kiara seems to be passively shutting down Tio's attempts at flirting and redirecting it towards Elanor instead. God, Kiara, you're seriously throwing Nori under the bus! But then again, I was trying to throw you under the bus, so fair game! Fair game! Yet Tio doesn't seem to be picking up on it, instead choosing to lean a little more against the counter so that his muscles flex under his form-fitted shirt and crosses his ankles. You're not from around here, are you? I remember a face like yours. Name's Theodore, by the way, but cuties like you can call me Tio. Charming. I'm Kiara. And no, I'm only in town for a few weeks. I'm visiting some relatives and finding some inspiration before I head back home. Inspiration, huh? I can show you around. Well, aren't you fun? What about my baby sister? Huh? But I'm older than you. Come on, live a little, Nori. You always tell me how you're holed up at work all the time. I suppose, but... Looks like you're in need of a bit of fun. I can help with that. Have either of you been to the aquarium yet? It opened recently. Not yet, but I'll have to give your offer a pass, I'm afraid. Aquarium's not your style? You're not my style. Oh, damn, Kiara! Ouch. Despite the low blow to his ego, Tio didn't look the least bit offended. In fact, he seems to thrive off it. Is he into degradation? Is that what he's into? Oh god, so I can't even try to mock him. He'll just be into it. As if fate felt the urge to intervene, Kiara's phone suddenly goes off and startles everyone. Sorry, give me a sec. I need to take this call. She slips away before any of us have the chance to respond, and without missing a beat, Tio immediately takes her previous spot, beside Elanor. And what about you? Me? Don't see anyone else around, princess. Oh, God! Oh, what can we even do with Tio? Can I sick Ren on him? Can I please, for love of God, sick Ren on him? Like, that would be a good end. That would be a good end. I know what kind of game this is. I want Ren to get rid of my ex-boyfriend. He's my ex, right? I'm guessing that's the case. Oh, well, I mean, I think it'd be fun, but I suppose it would be a bit awkward if it's just you and me. You heard her, doll. As if finally acknowledging my presence, Tio turns to me with an expectant look on his face. Once you tag along, they'll see if Leon wants to join the fun. It'll be like a double date. At that, Elanor visibly seems to relax a bit, but I spare a quick glance at her direction, and I can pick up on the barest hint of hope in her eyes. Wait, she wanted to go on a date with Tio? I don't know, Al. Oh, what? Got better things to do. I got better people to do. Look, I'll pay for everything. I can even pick you up as well if you want. Sound good? Not that I'd ever openly admitted to Tio, but his offer was finally starting to sound tempting. I mean, free food and a free outing is too good to refuse. However, how will you respond? I don't wanna! Fine, but I'm doing this for Elanor. Elanor seems to brighten at that, and her smile just about makes it all worth it. I'm doing this for you. You had better appreciate this, ma'am. There we go. I knew you were gonna chicken out of this. Then it's settled. Leah and I will meet you both here tomorrow after work. What time do you finish? Around... There you are, Lion. Nah, didn't realize you were busy. Finally! It was as if someone heard my prayers this time! Conan emerges from somewhere behind me. What was up with that today? And offers me an escape with the current conversation. And without missing a beat, I turn towards my savior and spare him a thankful glance. I make sure to sadly apologize to Elanor as well, clearly uneasy with the thought of leaving her alone with Tio, but she seems all too happy with how subtly she shoos me away with her hand behind her back. Sure, I can slip away for a moment. Did you need something? Just need an extra pair of hands to sort through some boxes. If you're busy, I'll manage it by myself. It's fine. I really could use a breather. Okay, so perhaps I did need to announce that so joyfully. Regardless, I turned back towards Elanor and Tio to send him one final apologetic look before following after Conan. Apologies for that. Didn't mean to steal you away from your friends. This happened to be sorting through all the books a coworker managed to knock over this morning and making sure they were all in the correct category before putting them back onto the cot. It felt eerily similar to what I had been previously doing with Elanor, only this time, there weren't any Tio-shaped annoyances to keep me company. But man, I swear, Conan had to be the only boss who'd be perfectly fine with the employees slacking off to talk with their friends instead. He hadn't said a word about Tio, and probably Kiara too, depending on how long he'd been standing behind me, and seemed more than okay with us huddling around the reception desk. Deciding not to push my luck, I returned Conan's soft look with one of my own. It's fine, don't worry about it. I've been meaning to ask. Actually, has everything been going alright with you? Nothing shady been happening lately? What do you mean? You haven't heard the news? There's been a few murders happening in the Bay Area recently. Admittedly, I've been worried for your safety as of late. You live by yourself, correct? Yeah, but my neighbor checks in on me almost regularly. Now that I think about it, she's also been concerned for my safety. That's good. I'm glad. Listen, if something ever happens... Conan awkwardly glances over his shoulder before returning his gaze back to me. Nothing but sincerity stares back and find myself in stunned silence. Here, it's my personal number. But due to the lack of clarification, I ended up sending him a confused look instead of thanking him. I know you've recently moved to Corlin Bay, but you've got to put someone down as your emergency contact. I'm worried you won't have anyone to call in case something does happen. I want to make sure you're safe at all times. Oh, thank you, Conan. Of course. He gives my shoulder a gentle pat before returning to his original task. The conversation falls back into an easy, comfortable silence, and I pocket his number before pouring all my focus towards the books laid out in front of me. The rest of my shift passes by uneventfully, and at some point, Elanor informs me that Kiara had to leave for work-related matters, and wouldn't be coming back for a few days. Still, it was really nice to finally meet Eleanor's sister, and was even kinder of her to give me a fountain pen before she left. Or at least I assumed it was Kiara. I found the expensive-looking box sitting on my desk once I returned, and wasted no time in opening it up and examining the content. The pen itself appeared to be made from extremely high-quality materials, and the cursive L+R logo looked rather fancy underneath the light. I made a mental note to get something for Kiara as well before pocketing the pen next to Conan's number and packing up my belongings for the day. But as I'm slipping out the library's back door, I notice a familiar broad back sign, a patch of blonde hair, and a bright red Hawaiian shirt standing near the alleyway's entrance. I thought it was tomorrow! What do you mean it's today? What do you mean it's today? As if sensing my presence, Leon turns around and greets me with one of his familiar warm smiles. Good day, Darl. Been a while. He sends me a toothy grin before making space for me within the group. Elanor greets me with a delicate wave, and Tio looks moderately annoyed as usual. I don't know what I ever saw in you. Why are you in my life? Tio was just introducing me to Elanor and yarning on about this little outing he has planned. Hey, how come you never told me you've never been to the aquarium before? Makes sense though. I reckon it was built after you left the bay, right? So I doubt you had time to check it out. Pretty much. Most of my free time has been taken up with moving and unpacking boxes. I couldn't help but find myself agreeing with his words. It was crazy how Leon seemed to know me so well, even though we hadn't had the chance to speak to each other like this in a while. But I'm curious to see what it's like. What about you, Nori? I couldn't help but let Kiara's nickname for her slip. Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm the same. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Never been to an aquarium before, so this should be fun. It is supposed to be tomorrow! So what are you both doing here? Well, here's hoping the weather will be more lenient tomorrow. It was pissing down buckets yesterday, wasn't it? Did you make it home alright, sunfish? All of a sudden, that eerie feeling comes back, and I resist the urge to turn around and look behind me. I only now notice that I have had my back to the dark alleyway this entire time. Lion? Sorry, what was that? You alright? You look like I've seen a ghost. I watch as Leon looks behind me before glancing at Tio and Elanor for what seems like reassurance. Yeah, nah, it's nothing. Guess I've had a long day at work. Really long day thanks to you? Nah, I get it. Feeling tired? You should head on home then. Please, don't let us keep you longer than we should. Let me drop you off. Car's out front. As much as I appreciated everyone's concern, I honestly want to be left alone right now to clear my head, and going on a walk would surely do me wonders. Besides, it was still somewhat bright out, and there were people around, so I had no reason to worry about my non-existent stalker. I also heard that some new merch arrived at the local manga store, which I've been meaning to check out, so that would surely help to get my mind off things. It was along my route home anyway. What harm could possibly come out of a quick detour? At that thought, I quickly placate everyone's concerns before bidding my goodbyes and heading off alone down the street. It wasn't until I got far enough away from the library that the eerie feelings started to dissipate. The nostalgic smell of comic books and plastic greets me as I enter the all-too-familiar manga store and immediately beeline my way towards the anime aisle. I set on collecting the last remaining accessories for my mini Attack on Giants display, and I was about to let my paranoia get in the way of that. But as I was passing through a few of the aisles, I noticed a familiar shade of pink near the cashier. Is that Ren? Is it? It's my boy! Even though he was wearing a mask and had his hair tied back, I could easily pick out his large and lanky frame anywhere. Sneaking closer, I noticed how he appears to be in a hushed conversation with the manager about something confidential, if their closeness was anything to go by, before he places a thick manila envelope into her hands and leans back. But before I have the chance to make myself known, Ren is already turning on his heels and slipping behind the large racks filled with cosplays and gaming-themed apparel. Chase after him! Chase after him! Can I please chase after him? Am I? His height does him no favors though, as I watch his head peek out from the top as he bobs and weaves his way towards the side entrance. At that very moment, my phone decides to jump scare me by suddenly going off, and it startles me enough to temporarily forget about Ren. Letting out a string of curses, I reach into my back pocket and pull it out, only to see Moth's name flash on the screen. With a grin, I accept the video call and hold the phone up to my face. Oh, I thought Moth was someone else! Hey, listen, now isn't really a good time to talk, but... Oh, no, this is terrible. Get well soon. Oh, sorry for your loss, or whatever. Anyway, listen. Guess who won an all-paid holiday trip overseas? Me! That's who. It's been a while since I had last seen Mom's face, but they appeared just as boisterous as I remember them. For free too! I mean, okay, yeah, I still need to pay for food and stuff, but... Hey, where are you? I'm in a manga store. Hold on, can we backtrack for a second? You got free tickets? To where? Is that a Haruko figurine? Can you get it for me? Please, 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 please! Moth, I'll pay you back, I promise. I'll pay for shipping too. It's so cute! Look at his little outfit. Look at his tiny little jacket and tiny little shoes. With an eye roll, I reach behind me for the figurine, but not before picking out the accessories I originally came here for. I slowly make my way towards the cash register. Once Mob's hoots and hollers calm down, I gently try to coax them back into the original topic. Oh, right, you asked where I was going. Well, it's actually a surprise. Seriously? A good surprise, though. Hey, are you still in Corla? For a brief moment, the screen starts to lag and a loading symbol pops up. Moth? That, I'll be in almost that. Okay. Their voice cuts in and out, giving an almost robotic effect before the screen eventually fades to black. I'm guessing I'm going to be seeing Moth in Corland Bay. That's great. It's been a while since I've seen them. With a heavy sigh, I end the call and shoot him off a text to let him know that they got disconnected yet again. But as I absentmindedly look out the window, I notice the blurry outline of Ren's figure sitting on the bench outside, busying himself with what looks like his phone. Next! The cashier's voice pulls me away from my thoughts, and I quickly pay for my purchases, all while sparing not-so-secretive glances at Ren from beyond the shop window to make sure he's still there. It was strange, but I couldn't help but hope I'd get a chance to catch up with him on my way out. I know it'd barely been more than a day since I last saw him, but I still wanted to thank him for the date he took me on yesterday. The cashier pulls my attention away by handing me a bag and receipt, and I give them my thanks before making a beeline towards the exit. But just as the door swings open, I noticed that Ren had already left. He was no longer at the bench where I last saw him, and I couldn't spot him on either end of the street either. It was like he was never there in the first place, and I almost find myself wondering if I had imagined the whole thing. I was starting to see him everywhere, anyway, and it was beginning to come across as creepy. But Conan Bay isn't that big of a coastal town in retrospect, and I'm sure we were about to run into each other again sooner or later. I mean, I literally met Ren in my own workplace because we shared a few common interests in books. His just so happened to be about native flora. That kind of stuff wasn't something either of us could control, and I was most likely looking too deep into it still. It felt strange all the same. Oh well, there's no use dwelling on it. I still had Ren's number saved to my contacts anyway, so I could shoot him a text or even a call if I really start to miss him. It was beginning to get dark once I arrived at my apartment complex, so I quickly usher my way up the staircase and onto my floor. But as I'm making my long trek up the stairs, I bump into someone lingering around the corner and almost end up tumbling down. Whoa! Hey, watch it! Glancing up, I noticed that it's the cashier from yesterday who was glaring daggers at me while I tried to steady myself from the railing. That was Olivia, wasn't it? She makes no effort to help me, though she does move to the side in order to give me space at the top of the stairs. It was then when I take notice of the ginormous basket of laundry in her arms, and it makes me wonder if she was actually going to carry it all the way to the laundromat by herself. Clearly, she was stronger than she looked. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Olivia cuts herself off, once the severity of the situation finally sinks in, before she sucks in her cheek and lets out an exasperated chuckle. Seriously? What could she possibly find so funny about this situation? Of all places, a staircase. Really? Your boyfriend sure has a screwed up sense of humor. What? That's nothing. Look, I didn't mean to knock you down the staircase like that. I've got a lot on my mind lately, and I wasn't looking where I was going. Hey, it happens. It most certainly didn't. But Olivia seemed to be having a rough day, so I wasn't going to make things worse by being rude to her. She already looked on the edge for some reason, especially with how she kept sneaking glances over both our shoulders. It was almost like she was looking for something, and I would have asked her about it if she didn't beat me to it. So, where's the boyfriend of yours anyway? Not lurking around the corner like a creepy psychopath, is he? Who? Seriously, your boyfriend, the guy you visited at the souvenir shop with the other day. Oh, Ren! He's not my boyfriend, we're just... How will you respond? Actually, yes, my boyfriend. He's just a guy I'm interested in. He's just my friend. I've never seen that man. Oh my god, I could just go for that. No, I wanna say he's my boyfriend. Like, God, he is my boyfriend. God, no need to rub it in my face. Why are you so indecisive? Either he's your boyfriend or he's not. You know what? I'm not even sure why I'm having this conversation with you. Forget it. I'm in a rush, so please, move. Clearly down the conversation, Olivia sidesteps me and starts making her way down the stairwell, but she only manages to get a few feet away before she turns around once more. Resting her laundry basket back on her hip, she looks up at me with an unreadable look. You live on this floor as well. Then it looks like we're going to be seeing each other more often. But just some neighborly advice. If you plan on bringing Ren around, keep it down. I'm not afraid to file a noise complaint. I was at his place yesterday! What are you talking about? And with that, she disappears around the corner. What was that all about? Deciding it wasn't worth my time to mull it over, I slowly make my way towards my apartment. Not bothering to turn on the light, I tossed my keys into the tray, struggled my jacket, and unceremoniously dropped myself onto the couch. Today had been a whirlwind of events and emotions, and the worst part was that it still hasn't ended yet. I still had an hour or so left before I consider any dinner plan, so I figured I might as well spend the evening winding down in the meantime. All too quickly, an idea pops into my head, and I reach over to grab my phone. How will you respond? I will invite someone over! Figuring it'd be best to catch up with someone instead of stewing in my apartment alone, I pull out my contacts list and idly scroll through it. Conan's number immediately captured my attention, being the newest addition to my contacts as sitting near the top of the list, before my curiosity begins to stray once more. Without so much as hesitating, I tap on that person's number and bring the phone close to me. I wanted to call Ren! Why am I calling Conan? Why? Who did you call? Oh! Okay, well, what do you mean? So, who? Someone else? Jay, Leon, Tio? Why would I? Wait, who's Jay? Jay. Oh, the other guy from day 2. Okay, I want to call Ren. I'm calling Ren. Odd. I don't remember scrolling all the way down to view his contact details. Nevertheless, I find myself tapping on Ren's name and bringing the phone closer to my ear. He picks up almost immediately, and I can practically feel the excitement and moe flowers expel from the screen and hit me in the face. And before I knew it, Ren is agreeing to come over as soon as he can, so I quickly turn the lights back on and clean the place up a bit, and anticipate his arrival. Barely 10 minutes pass before I hear a loud knocking at my front door. Almost immediately, I leap to my feet and unlock it with a smile. Ren! Hey! Come on in! I watch as he awkwardly shuffles about in the hallway, almost uncertain if he should come back inside or not. He moves to take off his shoes, and I watch in awe as he neatly stacks them next to the umbrella rack. Oh, are you the type to leave your shoes on at home? Sorry, nah, you're fine. God, he really was so adorable! I also brought some takeout with me, if that's okay. I figured you hadn't had the chance to eat yet. Whoa, how'd you know? It's like you can read minds or something. Barely registering the look on his face, I gently coax Ren into my living room, and then soon my bedroom again! Oh my lord, my butt's going to be so sore! He makes himself at home on my couch, and I bring a few utensils from my kitchen for the food he so kindly brought. Oh, by the way, were you at the manga store earlier today? I thought I saw you there. Yeah, I know you did. I mean, because I saw you as well. After I left, I noticed you through the window. Well, that seemed to confirm my thoughts about Ren sitting outside the store. Stabbing my fork into the food, I take a bite and let out a pleased hum from all the delicious flavors dancing on my tongue. Really? You should have said hi. I thought about it, but you seemed really focused on something. I blame Moth! And then he got a call, so... I still blame Moth! Yeah, it was my friend, Moth. Oh, it reminds me, Ren. At that, his full attention is immediately on me. Take out long forgotten as the taller male moves in his seat to face me. You like Attack on Giants too, don't you? I mean, your hair and outfit, it was inspired by Haruko, right? I know I must have been coming on a bit strong, but Ren and I have been getting to know each other a bit better these past few days, and somehow, I knew he wouldn't freak out as much if he knew about my more nerdy side. Sparing a glance at Ren, he seems to be handling it well enough, if the interested yet curious look on his face was anything to go by. In fact, Ren seems almost on the edge of his seat with how intently he's staring at me. He must be really interested in Haruko as well to garner this sort of reaction. In some way, it was comforting to know we shared a few more similar interests. Haruko is actually one of my favorite characters at the moment. He has been for a while now, actually. But that's not the point. The point is, Moth loves Haruko too. I could introduce you guys. They're a die-hard fan of the anime, and I'm sure they... Oh, Moth is the one who's interested? Almost shyly, he turns his head away and meekly scratches at his jaw. I don't mind, but... I wasn't expecting Ren to be so hesitant, and I suddenly felt bad for springing this all onto him without considering how he might feel as well. Hey, no need to force yourself. If you don't want to, that's okay. I just thought it'd be nice to let some it'd be nice to let him have someone else to talk to, you know? Moth is troublemaking friends, and most of the time, they're only talking to me. Yeah, that's too bad. He sends me a sad look coupled with a frown before returning to the plate before him. Although I was thinking about Moth, I really didn't want to force Ren into befriending someone if he didn't want to. Besides, maybe he has trouble forming friendships too. It was a little difficult trying to keep up with his sudden personality shift, but at this point in our friendship, I was starting to get used to it. Deciding to lift the mood a little, I tried to change the subject to something more lighthearted. So, apparently this place has rats. Really, Lion? That was the first thing you could think of? How was it any less awkward than what we were currently... Actually, I didn't want to say anything, but I think I saw one on my way up here. It probably made itself a home in that busted elevator shaft. Seriously? Oh, wait. Do you think you could come with me and explain it to my landlord? I swear, your landlord isn't doing anything about it? No! I collapsed onto the sofa with a dramatic sigh. I honestly don't know what they're doing, if I'm being honest. I've sent so many complaints, but they haven't received a reply to any of them. Really? Have you considered just moving to your place? Please, please, Ren, please! Quite a few times, actually, but how will you respond? The location is nice, the place has its charms, my neighbor is friendly, I'm not sure what I like, I'm not sure. Why would I stay here? Like, the only reason why I would stay here is probably because rent is cheap. But I'm not sure what I like. I suppose this was the only place available at the time. Everything was a bit overwhelming at first, but I really wanted to come back to Corlin Bay. I figured this would only be a temporary thing. You know, till I got my bearings. I see. It's not so bad here after all, right? I mean, as long as there's no creep trying to break in and steal all your laundry or something. Psh, you've got a point there. I think I'd take the rats over a laundry-stealing intruder any day, but... Now that I think about it, who would want to break in just to steal dirty clothes? Well, I'm sure Ren only meant it as a joke. It was oddly specific. Oh, I just figured that's what a normal creep behavior would be. You have a great sense of fashion, and I see your TV still here, so... yeah, I guess it would be difficult to lug that down a staircase. They probably should have asked the rats for help. Again with the rats! I couldn't help but let out a laugh at his corny inside joke. Wait, since when did we have our own inside jokes? Now that I really thought about it, the banter I shared with Ren seemed very easygoing as of late, despite how serious the topics were supposed to be. I've been worrying all day about this supposed stalker, yet here I was, casually brushing it off as a carefree joke. Still, is everything alright in your neighborhood? Not exactly. Could you get rid of Tio for me? I've heard about the murders going on recently. Well, no one I know has gone missing, so I suppose that's good, right? I wouldn't lie, though. It is kind of scary knowing that there's a killer out there. Yeah, I suppose so. But are you really okay with staying here alone? Doesn't that scare you? Yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine. What's there to worry about? Ren, is there something for me to worry about? Ren, don't tell me there's something to worry about. Ren! I've got my neighbor, Violet, and if it's really necessary, I'm sure I could stay with Leon for a while, and... Say, you could stay with me instead. I rent an apartment not too far from here. You're always welcome to stay, especially if it's an emergency. Can I just stay for the hell of it? Can I stay in your apartment? I'd sleep better knowing you're safe. And I always carry a spare key card with me anyway. If you like, you can hold on to it in case some... I appreciate the offer, Ren. I can't accept that. It's fine. Besides, you said yourself that living here could get overwhelming. If this can help you in any way, I don't know. Keep it. Just in case. I mean, you never know. What if that creep breaks into your apartment again? If that happens, you'd be safer in my place. Like I said, it's not far from here. The lobby's full of security, and they won't let anyone upstairs without proper clearance. Plus, I don't have rats? I won't lie, Ren's offer honestly sounds tempting. The idea of having somewhere to go in case things got bad was a comforting thought, but something just didn't sit right with me. I know I've been spending a lot of time with Ren recently, but I still wasn't that familiar with him. And sure, maybe I did invite a total stranger over to my place on a whim, but I wasn't going to be swayed because I feel indebted to Ren. Still, the offer was really tempting, and he was asking me to move. It wasn't like he was asking me to move in with him or anything. Now that I thought about it, Ren was the one giving me access to his home. It was like I was the one in danger here. He was trusting me enough not to be some sort of crazed killer, much like the one on the news. I can't help but crack a small smile at that somewhat morbid thought, and Ren seems to take it as a positive sign. But before I can dwell on it any further, I watch as he leans over to reach into his back pocket and pulls out something that resembles a plastic card. Ren wastes no time in handing it to me, and I take a moment to look it over. His address and unit number are neatly printed at the top, and some kind of obscure barcode is on the bottom. However, the apartment name and logo in the top right corner are what really captures my attention. Sunshine Hills. It lives in the nicer parts of Corlin Bay? There was only one Sunshine Hills that I was familiar with, and they were known for their high-rise apartments and fancy penthouses. I'm sure Ren never had to worry about rent infestations or deadbeat landlords. So the more I thought about it, the more willing I was to accept his offer. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea after all. Even though Ren lived in the more luxurious parts of town, would he really mind if I crashed at such an expensive place? I know he's the one who's offering, but still, if this opportunity meant getting to know him better, maybe it'd be worth it. Snapping out my thoughts, I look up from the glossy plastic and focus my attention back to Ren. Seriously though, it wouldn't hurt to keep it. And it's a spare key card anyway. I can always get more. I already have a stack of them at home. They're real handy too. I can use them to lock up my office and bedroom without a physical key. But I always end up misplacing them all and... Sorry, am I rambling again? I don't want you to worry or anything. And you never know what might happen. I've seen what's been on the news lately, and I just want you to be safe. He wants me to be safe. Where have I heard that before? Well, I suppose so. Great! Then... He glances back at the plastic item in my hand, with an expectant look, almost as if he were waiting for me to put it away. And when I carefully shoved it into my pocket, Ren seems to visibly relax and lean back into his chair once more. Then, that settles it. Come by whenever you want. You don't even need to call. I'm gonna go right over there, like, tomorrow, when I'm just gonna sneak away from the aquarium and go straight to Ren's place, but then again, I will be leaving Elanor alone, which is not exactly great, because I don't trust you at all. God damn it, I have to go through with the next day, don't I? Frick. Thanks. I think I'll still call him in advance, or even shoot a text. As lovely as Ren's welcoming hospitality was, I wouldn't want to disrupt or intrude on anything. As if picking up on my sudden silence, he clears his throat, gestures towards the food on the table, and scoops up a giant forkful. Anyway, we should finish this before it gets cold. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Deciding to ease the tension once more, I speak the first thing that comes to mind as I stab my fork into the container as well. How will you respond? Let's see. Enjoying the food. Can you pass the sauce? You've got crumbs on your face? You look like a hamster. Hey, you got crumbs on your face. Before I can stop myself, I reach out towards Ren's face and gently wipe away the crumbs from his cheek. My fingers brush against his bottom lip, and I can't help the slight tinge of pink that blooms on my cheeks. Ren seems to be sporting a similar look of his own before he awkwardly clears his throat and goes back to eating. Thank you. The casual banter continues throughout dinner, and soon enough, all the containers were empty and our stomachs were full. I dimmed the lights and switched the TV on at some point to fill the silence between our conversations, and soon enough, Ren and I find ourselves taking an interest in a movie that was currently playing. It was some unknown sappy rom-com that came out almost a decade ago, yet Ren didn't seem to mind that much. I wasn't following the plot too keenly, but from what I could gather, the male lead just confessed his love for the main character in the back of their truck. To top it all off, it started raining as some slow, melodic love song came on the radio. The two characters were all too happy to share a sweet kiss with each other in that romantic moment. But The tenderness soon gets cut short once the scene starts to travel down a more heated path. The kiss becomes more passionate, and before I know it, I'm watching the main character lean across the center console to sit in their lover's lap instead. Clearly, I wasn't expecting this to happen in what I falsely believed was a harmless rom-com, so I dared to glance in Ren's direction to gauge his reaction. Yet aside from the faint dusting of pink on his cheeks, the rest of him seemed all too relaxed. There's an arm casually thrown over the back of the couch, while the rest of his body is slouched into the plushness of the seat. His lanky limbs are stretched out in front of him, while his thighs are spreading out slightly, and the empty space between his legs was beginning to look inviting for some reason. Was it because of the movie? Before I could stop myself, I find my mind wandering. Okay, I'm going to be so sore. What? Get that, but I keep watching the movie. What was I thinking? This movie was clearly messing my head. Suddenly, I slapped my cheeks and focused my attention back to the TV screen. But every so often, my gaze flickers back to Ren to see if he was feeling just as awkward as I was throughout the scene. And it seems I was right. It's almost painful watching him awkwardly clear his throat a few times until his interest ultimately shifts towards my wall instead. I also feel the urge to look away once the couple start to get even more handsy with each other, and when it starts to become too much to bear, I impulsively change the channel. A monotone voice droning on about the weather feels so silent, and I feel the couch move as Ren shifts in his seat. That was... yeah. They were really going at it, huh? Uh-huh. Heh. Jeez, I can't believe it's somehow even more awkward now. But just as I'm about to do something about it, Ren awkwardly clears his throat and moves to stand up. It's getting a bit late now. I should probably start heading home. No! My booty's aching for you, Ren! Oh, are you sure? You could stay a bit longer. Nah, I really should. Now that I think about it, you need to wake up early, don't you? Yeah, actually. But how did you know that? Oh, you seem like the early bird type. He doesn't seem to elaborate on that and instead starts to pack up his belongings and head towards the hallway. Deciding that was that, I walked around towards the front door with a soft smile on my face. Today had been a lot of fun thanks to him, and I was able to keep my mind off of the events that would ultimately transpire tomorrow. I was still unsure about Tio's intentions, but being with Ren helped me to understand that maybe it was wrong of me to judge others so quickly. At first, I thought Ren was just some shy guy with a stuttering problem, but over the course of a few days, I've learned there's more to him than just that. He had his moments of confidence, and it was endearing watching him stand up for the things that he wanted. Perhaps I was being a bit too harsh on Tio. Even he deserves a chance to redeem himself. I suppose I'll give him a chance tomorrow. Lion? Sorry. I really need to stop spacing out like that. I asked if you wanted me to lock the door for you. It suddenly hit me like a ton of bricks. I was still standing in the hallway while Ren was already waiting for me at the door. So I quickly rushed over to him with a flushed expression. Sorry, I was just busy thinking. I could lock it. Thanks though. Yeah, you do that a lot. It's cute. I almost rolled my eyes at his words as I leaned against the front door and watched Ren awkwardly shuffle on my doormat. Thanks for today, and sorry for taking up so much of your time. Not at all. Thanks for coming over. Get home safe, okay? Ren's eyes seemed to light up the moment I voiced my concern over him. Yeah, okay. I will. You too. You're already home, so get a bit safe or sleep safe? Sleep well? What am I can't help but chuckle at his panicked state, and Ren seems to settle once he hears my laughter. Good night, Ren. Good night, Lion. I'll see you tomorrow. The sound of the door shutting drowns out the ending of his sentence. Is that the end of the 3? There's more. Once I had nothing left to do for tonight, I get changed into some comfy pajamas and brush my teeth before settling into bed. The newest chapter for Always With You was going to drop in a few hours, and I figured I might as well stay up and read it before going to sleep. But my eyes were starting to get droopy, and all my mind could think about was the double date I had planned with Leon, Tio, and Elanor tomorrow. Man, I sure hope everything will be fine. I know worrying about it wasn't going to do me any favors, so I let out my pent-out stress out on my pillow by smacking it to make it less lumpy. So the moment I unceremoniously flopped back down, I noticed the cold draft and the fact that my bedroom window was left wide open. Strange. I don't remember opening it earlier. With a groan, I get up from my bed and go to close it, but once I lock it shut, something moves from within the shadows and startles me. Squinting, I can barely make out the black mass moving through the gaps in the fire escape balcony. What was that? A person? It certainly wouldn't be strange for someone to take a cigarette break at this hour, but I couldn't smell any telltale signs of smoke. Maybe it was my landlord's cat out for a leisurely night stroll. That idea seemed more realistic in my mind. Yet despite my futile attempts at calming myself down, I still somehow find the willpower to go back to bed rather than opening the window once more and taking another curious peek outside. I didn't have a death wish, nor did I have the stupidity of those cliché horror film characters. But before I turn away, I double-check to make sure the window is locked shut and the blinds are fully closed. I wasn't about to risk it. Happy with the precautions put in place, I make a hasty dive towards the warmth and safety of my bed. Snuggled deep within my blankets, I find it harder and harder to think about someone breaking in, and even more so with keeping my eyes open. But before I know it, pink-colored sheep slowly filled my mind as I drifted away. That's the end of day 3. Anyway, that was day 3 of 14 Days Review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. Yeah, I don't know if I have the willpower to actually go through all the various endings for day 3, nor do I have the willpower to play it from the very beginning, because holy frick, all in all, I think it's nearly like 3 hours of content that I've got up on YouTube right now of this game. And god, if you guys do want to get the other endings for yourselves, or if there's any particular routes you do want me to try going down instead, hey, do let me know in the comments below. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, and as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.